Now this is the seventh chapter, system of particles and rotational motion. In the last class we have seen the body in two dimensional, one dimensional. We have calculated acceleration, force acting on it and all that. Now this chapter we will see rotational motion, how the body move with about an axis with angular velocity, what is angular acceleration, what is initial angle, final angle, all we will see in this chapter. Now, we had seen that the all the a large body, so let us say lorry, we observed that the force acting on the body and acceleration of the body, we have assumed that this is a simple a particle, assumed as a particle, means the body has finite size and we applied the force and calculated velocities, all the things. Any real body which we encounter in daily life generally has simply treated to be finite size, and this is also treated to be idealized model. Now this in this we attempt actually beyond this normal ideal model, like a body is composed of not a single particle, it is a combination of the particles. A body comprised of particles, combination of many number of particles, means a body is a particle system. So with this we will start actually particles velocity on all body velocity and angular velocity which is moving about an axis. We shall observe all the things in this chapter. What is meant by rigid body? Of course, rigid body means so strong, but according to definition, how to define it? Rigid body is a perfectly definite and unchanging shape. Shape can be unchanged, and it is a perfectly definite body. Suppose a deforming forces are applied on the body, the external deforming forces are applied on the body, and when we remove the deforming forces, what happens? The body comes to original shape. But here the if you observe the two particles, let us say the distance between them is d, the deforming forces are removed, the distance remains same, even the force applied or we don't apply, the particle distance remains fixed. The particle to particle, the distance between them remains fixed. Such type of body is called as rigid bodies. Rigid body or strong body, we can say in general. The distance between all the points of particles of such body do not change. Such bodies are called as rigid bodies. We all see in this chapter about rigid bodies, rigid body motion, and its angular velocity, angular acceleration, all the things. What are the different types of motions? So one we observe that which is called as translational motion. Second one, rotational motion. Translation motion and rotational. So let us simply draw a slant. This is theta. Let us observe that a box which is sliding down, and box comprised of particles, let us say two particles, a p1 and p2, and p1 particle, suppose as it is sliding down, the velocity at point p1 directed in this way, and the velocity uh, at p2 this way. So the particle 1 and particle 2 would have the same velocity and directed in the same direction. So as the body, like box is translational, the particles are getting translated, the particle velocity as well as box velocity remains same. So this type of motion generally called as a translational motion. Now let's see that another same, the slant is there. Now we consider a simple row sphere, spherical type of body. Now what happens, which is rolling here, rolling is there. Let us observe a simple points here, point 1, point 2, and this is point 3 and point 4. Let's say p1, p2, p3, p4. So how do you observe that as it is rolled down, this is the direction of the velocity, this is the direction of the velocity, and this is the direction of the velocity. So what happens, as it is getting translated as well as rolling, the velocities like v1, v2, v3, v4 are different. So besides translational, we can expect other type of motion as it is rolling down, and in this motion a body composed of particles, and particles would not have same velocity, the particles would have different linear velocities, different linear velocities. Almost at this point the velocity becomes zero, and this is the point, if we choose that, the tangent can be drawn at that particular point, which gives the velocity direction, and the magnitude of that particular velocities at different points are also different. Now see this example, which is very familiar to us, which is a fan. Fan is moving its own axis around it. Let us say this is the anti-clockwise direction. This is a axial, about the axle it is being rotated, and this is called as axis of rotation. Axis of rotation. About the fixed axis, this is being rotated, and this is a rotation come translational. This is only which is having a rotation. When it is being rotated about an axis, it would have angular velocity, which is having angular velocity. Similarly, you can expect the same kind of example, which is a pot. A potter is making a pot, while this is the mud is being rotated about an axis and made as a simple shape. This is anti-clockwise rotation, and this is also called as a rotational motion. These are the simple examples of rotational motion. Now a simple common rigid body, how, let's say this is a rigid body which is not having exactly regular shape, but irregular shape might be. So let us see in that point p1 and point p2 and point p3. Let us see the identify the 3 points. One is like this is a point p1. Now distance, perpendicular distance from the axis, this is called as axis, or we can call it as axis of rotation. Now this is r1 is a distance at point p1, and r2 is a distance at point p2, and this is a point 3. Of course r3 is equals to 0. When it is being rotated, what happens? This is having angular velocity omega, which is called anti-clockwise rotation. And if you see closely, observe these are called as simply making a circular path, and this is a circular path of radius of r1, and this is no circle, which is r3 becomes 0 here. So the distance of point p1 to p2 or p2 p1 to p3 remains fixed, but the linear velocities are changed. If you observe that linear velocity at point p2 and point p1, the velocities are different but would be having angular velocity v remains same. We will come to know in the later cases v is equals to r omega. So this is a general formula which is called as angular velocity. This is called as linear velocity. This is a fixed value r. Now we will, if point to point r value can be changed. Linear velocity at point r1, v1 is equal to r1 omega, v2 is equal to r2 omega, v3 is equal to r3 omega. All that would be having omega remains same. About a fixed axis cannot be transformed, axis remains fixed. Let's see the simple examples where axis is also being changed. Spinning top, let's say this is z axis and this is say y axis. Let's say this is x axis. No issue, we can transform it. What is this? This is simply top. Now this, you observe, this is axis, being rotated. So without slipping, this is a point, contact point, without slipping while it is being rotated. In the next case, this is the next transformation, this is the next one, and this is a changing of next to this one, and this is. So what we observe here, that the axis of rotation is being changed. The next case, this is called as axis of rotation. Next case, this is called as axis of rotation. Making simply, if you observe on the top view, this is a circular view, you can observe it. So this is called as spinning top. And as other one, you observe it, that is called as pedestal fan. Generally we come across which very much familiar to us, how the pedestal fan can be. This is a shaft, this is axis, and these are called as three wings of this one, and this is being rotated. Along with that, this is also rotated, this is also rotated. So the rotation of the wings about this fixed axis, and this fixed axis can be also rotated about this axis. This is called as a pedestal fan, or a simple oscillating fan, or we can call it as oscillating fan. Generally we call them to be table fans and standing fans. They are giving two types of examples, where it is being translated as well as rotated, where axis is being also rotated. So the moment of the axis as a top around a vertical, which is called as precision. This is called as precision. And point of contact which is at the ground, which is being fixed, the point of contact cannot be altered. This is like generally in the childhood you are aware of this one, where we used to play with this one. Let's observe the pure translational and combination of translational as well as rotational. Let's see that a simple bottle is being throwing the bottle. What happens? You observe that the trajectory or the path of the bottle as we have thrown it is this one. Now when you are observing this, the shape of the bottle and this is the same. Let's say that this is angle theta and this is angle theta again and again theta. So all that angle theta can be, and the orientation of the bottle cannot be altered as it is getting translated from one position to other position. This is purely called as a translational motion. This is called as translational motion. The bottle is not being rotated here, as it is being. Now see the other type of alternative example here. When bottle is being thrown, the second transformation, if you observe this is the orientation of the bottle and this is orientation of the bottle, where you choose the angle here, angle are completely changing. This is being called as rotated as well as translated. So this is called as a translational and rotational motion we observe. Translational and rotational motion. This is purely a translational. Okay. Now the important topic is center of mass. The importance of center of mass we will come to now. How to calculate center of mass location and velocity of center of mass, acceleration of the center of mass we shall see. First we need to understand the simple concept of two particle system. When the two particles are separated, now what is the common point? What is the center point of the two particle system? The same can be extended to many particle systems, but the reference axis should be there. Let's see, this is y axis and this is x axis. Let's choose point m1 and point m2. This is called as particle 1. This is called as particle 2. Right now this reference origin is 0, 0, x coordinate and y coordinates are there. Now from the origin, this is called as x1 coordinate and this is called as x2 coordinate. Right now, where the suppose let us say this is a simple a body of mass m1 and m2 are there, and where is the mass said to be concentrated? What is the entire mass is m1 plus m2, but what is the point where which is common said to be concentrated, or the entire mass of the body or system can be concentrated? Let's say see this one, but how to find the locations, what is the formula for it and how to see that? So let's say x1 is the distance from the y axis along the x axis and x2 is the distance from the y axis along x axis. These are the locations of the 2 points. Let's see that center point might be a common point which is called C. So XCM, the center of mass locations of x coordinate, how to write? M1 x1 plus M2 x2 by total mass of the system M1 plus M2. Let's say that if M1 and M2 are equal, right? Now how to find out this one? M1 and M2 are equal, we shall write it as x center of mass is M1 M common, and what we call it as M, let's say x1 plus x2 by 2m. Now the center of mass location XCM is equal to x1 plus x2 by 2. This is a simple common point where the masses are same. The balancing point is a bit between them. So like x1 plus x2 by 2. That's a common point, right? Now, of course, the particles are not located in the y-axis, so you cannot expect the y center of mass or y coordinate of center of mass. Center of mass is a location or is a point where the entire mass said to be concentrated or coincided. If you are considering many locations, many points, because a system, a body is compressed of many number of particles. Now, XCM, how to write XCM? Generally, m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 so on by m1 plus m2 plus m3. Such many number of particles are considered, their locations from y-axis to be taken as x coordinate. So in general format we will write it as sigma mi xi by sigma of mi. So summation over number of particles is a total mass and mi xi, or we can write it as simply xcm is equal to summation mi xi by capital M is a center of mass location of x coordinate. Now similarly, if we can also find out y location, z location of center of. Suppose we want to find out the center of mass location of square, of course. For a square it is almost all the sides are same. Now, where a geometric center point or geometric location you can identify it is this one. But how to say that? For this we observe that we will write it as a x-axis and y-axis 0, 0. Let us say side is a and this is a, this is a, x and y. How to find out the y center of mass location? Same as it is, we consider the number of particles on the system like m1 y1 plus m2 y2 plus m3 y3. Such number of particles are considered. Such locations can be taken. Y-axis distance can be measured from x-axis. So m1 plus m2 plus m3 so on. So y center of mass location is summation mi yi by summation mi. So ycm is equals to summation over mi yi by capital M. Similarly, we can write it as zcm. Z center of mass location is equal to m1 z1 plus m2 z2 by m1 plus m2. zcm is equal to summation mi zi by summation over mi. In that way, x comma y comma z. So location, center of mass location is xcm, ycm, zcm. The itself simple point or location reference to the axis or frame of reference, and combination of particles are considered where the entire mass said to be concentrated. That point can be calculated in the simple way. Suppose the position vector of a ith particle or ith particle is x of I cap, y of I j cap, z of I k cap. Now the center of mass location can be capital R, which is capital I, capital X is center of mass location, capital Y j, capital Z k. How to write in another way, which is called as mi number of masses corresponding the position vectors Ri by sigma mi. We will write it as R is equal to sigma mi Ri by capital M. In terms of position vector also we can calculate a center of mass location, right? If sometimes the center of mass might be aligned at origin also, then obviously the center of mass locations are 0 comma 0, you can write it, no issue with that. A rigid body like a meter stick or a flywheel, it's not flying. Flywheel means which is fixed to a wall where the wheel can be rotated. We will try to find out moment of inertia with that. So a rigid body such as like a meter stick or a flywheel which is having a closed system of particles, very number of particles are there in, are like atoms or molecules which are very close packed. So this is number is very large, so that it is impossible to carry out the summations or additions of over individual all the particles in this equation. So the spacing of the particles very small. So we can treat the body as a continuous body, continuous distribution of mass over the body. Now how to calculate such type of continuous distribution of masses over the complete body? How to calculate that? We will divide the masses as delta m1, delta m2, delta m3 are the small masses, that n number of masses can be considered. As the n number of masses are more, the spacing is very less. Now in such a, for such particular such type of distributions, how to calculate center of mass locations which is having the same XCM, which is summation over such many number of masses delta mi into xi, x location, by total mass we will write it as delta mi. We will write it as, no issue, delta mi xi by capital M also. Similarly we will write it as y center of mass location, which is summation over delta mi yi by delta mi. We will write it as 1 by m summation over delta mi yi. So you can make the bracket which is specific. Don't cancel delta mi over here. ZCM also we can calculate with location. Summation over delta m, which is 1 by m summation over delta mi zi. Now as we make n number bigger and bigger number, then the delta mi is smaller, and which is smaller also. These expressions become exact. In this case actually we will denote the sums over I by the integrals. Generally delta summation over delta mi, which will be written as integration dm, which is called as m. Now we will write it as delta mi into xi. How to write? Simply we will write it as x dm, because the limits are applied. Similarly delta mi yi, which is called as y dm, and delta mi zi, which is called as z dm, right? Now how to calculate symmetrical bodies like a circular ring or a sphere or square, rectangle? Generally we will see that the geometric center can be a center of mass. How to calculate? Suppose a meter stick is there, then what we call? Now we will locate it, we will consider a small dm over here, and this is a dm, this is a negative location and positive location. Then the net contribution over the this becomes 0. Then the origin is the center of mass location, where is exactly lying between the equal distance of left side and right side. So anyhow, we'll see the number of problems based on that. Like we'll calculate the masses which are placed at the vertices of the triangle or a rectangle or square, and we'll try to calculate the location of center of mass using the Lend formulas. In the next class, we will see that the huge number of problems and calculations. Thank you.